14 seasons, our guests today have battled evil forces as brothers Sam and Dean Winchester in the thrilling hit series Supernatural. On this week's episode, the brothers search for artifacts that could save their family. Take a look.
Oh, come on. Are you kidding me? Dean! Hey, are you serious? What? Oh, it's hilarious. Forget that. Look. Men of letters found it. Solomon's treasure. Where? 1917. In what is modern day Israel. According to this, they dug it up. And, here, look at the, right there. Among the items found, a crystal that glowed with an unearthly light. That's gotta be the seal, right? It's gotta be.
Please welcome Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles.
I got a Patrick Swayze.
You look like Patrick Swayze.
That's good.
Carney doesn't dance like him.
Oh, my God.
Unfortunately, I do not.
Carney was being naughty. We were like, they're so cute. She goes, which one, girls? Which one? Pick one. Which one would you pick? Behave. Oh, they're married. They have children. They're fathers.
But really, which one did you pick? My hand's on your leg.
So anyway, congratulations on Supernatural. Yay! Listen to this. Holds the record for being the longest running sci-fi series on North American television. Wow. That is incredible. And so, Jared, what do you remember about first meeting Jensen?
So we met basically at the audition, and for those who aren't in the business, these network auditions are terrifying. It's usually 5 or 6 guys that are trying for your role, 5 or 6 guys for the other role, 5 or 6 gals, and it's kind of intimidating. Everybody's worked really hard and dressed to the nines, all these handsome guys and beautiful women, and you're like, and then I walk in, and you're like, oh, thank God. I know I'm not last place. No, so we met, and we kind of were sitting in the room like, who are you reading for? Dean. Who are you reading for? I'm reading for Sam. Cool. Where is everybody? And so we're kind of waiting for other people to show up. Yeah. And I've met so many actors just literally in waiting rooms. I'll be walking around, and I'll say hi to somebody, and Genevieve, my wife, is like, how do you know them? I'm like, we used to audition together, basically. And we met. It's like, oh, well, I guess we're going to be sitting here for a little bit. You know, where are you from? Texas. Where are you from? Texas. All right. Who's your team? Cowboys. Who's your team? Cowboys. You know, like, got any siblings? Yeah, older brother, younger sister. What about you? Older brother, younger sister. Oh, wow. Down in San Antonio. So we just kind of found out that we had a whole lot in common. Which was great. A lot of connections.
Meant to be.
Yeah.
Well, I guess so.
And then did nobody show up?
That's the kicker, is nobody else showed up.
Really?
Yeah.
So they brought us in, and then they had us read together in front of the executives, and then they asked us to step outside, and they were deliberating, doing whatever they're doing, and then they asked us to come back in. They're like, guys, we're gonna just switch some things up. We want you to do something different. We're just kidding. You guys have the parts.
Wow!
Which is really rare. Like, normally they wait until you leave, they call your agent calls you and breaks the news, and it's like there's generally a protocol. They broke all protocol, and then we've been breaking protocol ever since.
Yeah.
I guess so.
Well, Jensen, you guys are notorious for teaming up and playing practical jokes on your castmates, but we heard that you no longer play jokes on each other. Why is that?
We learned very early on that we were much better as a team than pitted against each other.
That's BS. We knew we had too much. We had too much access to each other. So
Yes.
it was like, I know where he lives. He knows where.
And the access, I think it became very apparent when he walked into his trailer one day, and the entire thing had been completely destroyed. And remember, we used to get those. They used to sell like stink bombs at like Spencer's or something.
Oh, no.
I got my hands on several of them, and they. So they had to get him a new trailer.
It was. They did.
And that's, I think, when we decided, you know what, truce from here on
This
out.
is gonna go.
And much to the demise of our other castmates, we're
Now
better
they're
as
the
a team.
victims.
When we had other people finally show up, it was like, ooh, common enemy.
Now, Jared, fans are extremely dedicated to Supernatural. Obviously, because it's been on for a lifetime. But what is one of the most impressive things that a fan has done?
Well, and I see some familiar faces today. Hi, guys. It's, I think one that sticks out wonderfully, our level of celebrity or whatever. If you know who I am, you know my work. It's not like I'm just plastered on magazines and billboards. Like, if people are like, who are you famous? I'm like, that's not. But I love that, because if somebody knows me, it's not like, oh, you have some scandal or something. It's like, oh, we love that show you did. I watched Gilmore Girls, whatever it is. You're like, thank you. We have something to talk about. And we do a lot of conventions and get to interact with our fans and meet them as people and get to kind of see them in all these cool places all over the world. But the one time, I guess, in the wild, I was flying to my honeymoon. Well, my wife and I were
Rarely seen in this.
my wife and I were
Rarely seen in this natural habitat.
No, because it's one thing.
The elusive Jared Padalecki.
We were on a plane and we boarded the plane, and I think it was going to Air Tahiti or something. And
Whoa.
And the gentleman, the flight attendant, lets us on, and he sits us down and helps with our bags. Where are you coming from? And throughout the flight, 3 or 4 hours, he's coming by and, can I get you anything? Can I get you a drink? How's your food? Finally, as we're about to descend, he comes over. He's like, hey, I don't want to be inappropriate, but I want to say I really love y'all's work. I love your show because my wife was on the show. I'm like, oh, thank you so much. Like, how cool and how professional to wait till the end, so we weren't sitting there worried about snoring. And he says, as a matter of fact, I have the tattoo. I was like, you have a what? He's like, I have the character tattoo.
No.
Yes.
The pilot.
No, the flight attendant.
Sorry.
But
The pilot probably had tattoos too.
And I've seen that with fans that I've met, but I've never seen it in the wild. That's what I meant by it wasn't set up to be.
What's coming up for Supernatural? Next episode.
What's coming up next episode? So we're always doing crazy stuff. I mean, to be on as long as we have, we really have to think outside the box. We will have just had a crossover episode with Scooby-Doo. It's amazing. And Daphne looks amazing. I think they added a couple of curvatures for the prime time television. But this next episode, I believe, is...
Don't discount Velma now.
Go on. No, the brains of the operation.
Yes, okay.
Never want to discount that. We deal with an otherworldly creature, and what's the line that I had in this? Tentacle porn?
No.
It's all kinds of messed up. It's all kinds of messed up.
That was pretty good. I like that.
You got Cheryl watching.
She's gonna go out and grab herself a tattoo in no time.
Jared Padalecki, Jensen Ackles, thank you, gentlemen.
What?
Are you gonna give it a shot?
What?
French?
Bonjour. Bonjour.
I can say bonsoir.
Shut up.
Bonsoir. Say that.
That's much later.
Yeah. It's bien, right? Yeah. Not bien. Bon.
Ben.
We were so told us not to say bon. Like if you're having food, it's bon, not bien. It's like, how is the steak? We're like, bien. Let's go.
So we can recycle some old jokes. Krista's here. So.
I know. What did y'all think of Scooby-Doo? We've been fighting because it was kind of well received. We've been fighting to cross over with every animated show, and that's sort of like it's a multi-pronged attack on our part because A, it means we get to finish an episode in like 3 days instead of 8, and B, it's just fun. Like, we got to watch it in the Dolby Theater, which was kind of bizarre because the Oscars were there 1 week, and then a week and a half later it was us, like Scooby-Doo. Very, very cool though. So glad y'all liked it. I can't figure this.
We should do a Simpsons. Because I'm pretty sure they have almost as many episodes as we do.
The only longer running show.
Yeah.
Super. Speaking of which, we had big news this week. We have to work longer. Yeah. He's like, what happened?
What?
Monday, we have the official pickup, so thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
We get to explore these characters more and have a lot of fun. We are now officially less than 2 weeks away from the end of season 13.
That's right.
That's great! We're coming back! Get back to work! Texans!
This just means everything's starting to amp up and get really intense.
Yeah. SHIT is about to hit the fan.
Yeah. What did we just shoot?
We just shot day 1 of the
That's right, we did day 1 of episode 23 on Friday. And then we'll go back and finish up doing 22 because they had a flip-flop because there's some scheduling issues. But yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
A lot of people involved. Not me.
By the way, first time in Montreal. Who's local here? Awesome city. I've heard about it for years and years and years, and just never made it out here. And I was been like, can we do Montreal? Can we go to Montreal? Unfortunately, we came straight from set basically on Friday night.
Yeah, we were hoping to have like an extra day or two to spend here, but because it is the end of the season, everything's ramping up. The work schedule is kind of intense. So. But whatever, I'll take a half a day here.
Yeah. Better than not a half a day.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Merci.
I said you're welcome.
The rain.
What?
Mercy, the rain. Do rain. It sounds like the rain.
Do rain?
The rain. The rain. I get very liberal with my French accent. I don't speak French very well at all. And so I'm like, merci.
This is Jared asking for directions to the concierge yesterday. Hey, we're thinking about maybe, hitting and then, are there any other things that that we should see while we're in
So we have some crewmen and women who
I thought I was choking.
we have some members of our crew who are from Montreal. And those who also kind of Montreal. Yeah, so people were like, oh, have fun this weekend. Montreal. I was like, no, we're going to Montreal. Yes, have fun in Montreal. I was like, what are you saying to me? Like, I don't understand.
What was funny is, so I was like, how do you say it? Montreal? No. And then our sound guy, Don Penn Show, he was like, just don't say it like that. Just do us all a favor, don't say it.
I think we also realized, so Serge, our longtime wonderful cinematographer.
That does not.
He's from Montreal. He still has like a very French Quebecois accent in his English. So what made us kind of chuckle is you'll go to the concierge and say hi or whatever, the front receptionist, and they're like, hi, how's it going? You're like, oh, it's wonderful. Just a little tired. Okay, here's your room. What's your name? And then someone will come from the back like perfect French and then perfect English. Like, what? What just happened? I think Sarah's just playing it up.
And also,
it's perfect
I know.
English. It's pretends to be.
Doesn't want to listen to us. So he pretends he doesn't.
He doesn't want us to engage, so he uses an accent.
But what throws us off is like somebody will be speaking, perfect North American accent, English, and then they'll pronounce the names of streets or things in perfect French, which then I'm like, wait, what? What was that? It's, what was it? Yeah, so basically what you want to do, you want to go down and you're going to make a left on Saturday. I'm like, I'm sorry, I didn't write that down. Oh, Saint Supplice, got it.
Yeah. Anyways,
so I
could talk about this accent.
I feel like I did. Yeah. Probably use more grease on the doors.
Those hinges.
They're always a little creaky. Yeah, Dean's got to handle that. I don't know why. Full disclosure, it doesn't sound like that. That's a sound effect that they put in post. And I'm like, why do they keep doing that? It's like Dean doesn't care about. They're like not taking care of it. Thank you. Yes, sunflower.
So we've heard a lot of flashback episodes with like younger Sam and Dean. Oh, and I was just wondering if you guys could choose an episode to do like that, what would you want to see with younger Sam and Dean, like from their past?
I'd like to see. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of how they learned what they know from their father. I think that would have been, the life lessons that John taught them at a young age. I think would have been something really cool.
Yeah, I agree. It would have been fun to see some. Actually, I was thinking about that. It would have been fun to see some of the initial ones. Like when I was just watching, there was just an episode. I don't remember the episode. It was on TNT or TBS in the States, or I don't know. And it was a show that flashed back and it showed young Sam trying to be a part of the hunt and saying, you can shoot now, you can do this and that. And Dean is like, yeah, maybe Dad will let you. And Dean calls to say, hey, Dad won't let you. I don't remember what was the episode.
Just my imagination.
Just my imagination.
Yeah,
Just my, yes! I just watched it because yes, whoever, yes. I just watched it because I love the episode. And we were talking to Richard. I do love the episode. Anyways, how did I not forget that? Anyways, I'd like to see some of the initial ones where Dad and Dean started, letting Sam come along and help. And selfishly, I like to see how Sam kind of learned to do what he's good at doing.
After David Fest, I was actually curious how you do prepare for media press events.
Lots of nerves. Lots of nerves.
Do you feel a lot of pressure? Does that work just like, here's what we want you to say and don't spoil even Dean?
I think it's more, thank you for your question, that's an interesting question. I think it's more, for me, what comes from the studio and the network is more not what to say, but what not to say. They never tell you what to say because you don't know what the questions are going to be. They're like, hey, just don't mention that, or that Dean. So you're not allowed. They call them DNRs, which stands for do not reveal. So you get a list of DNRs, like don't say this because it hasn't aired yet. Don't say that because we haven't admitted this yet.
Which is funny because Jared reads ahead. Like whenever, as soon as the script breaks, he'll read it. It messes me up. Like so I don't read the script until I'm done with, until we're about to film it. So there could be 3 to 5 scripts available to read, but I won't read them until it's time to film them because it just chronologically in my head, I'll read, if I read ahead, it's like, oh, well, I assume that's happening this episode. It just, whatever.
And I know this about him and not we'll have the AD come up and be like, okay, so Jensen, in the next episode, you know how you have that fight and you're gonna blah 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 and you get thrown through a wall.
And I'm like, yeah.
He's like, yeah, and I'll be there. And he's like, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So the fight thing where I get the wall. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
What about it? What do you need?
Okay, so we need to know. Do you want knee pads for that day?
No, I'm good.
Okay, great. And then he'll look at me and be like, what are they talking about?
So what happened? But what's funny is when we get these do not reveals, I'll come up to him and be like, dude, Rowena's back. Did you know that? They should just not give them to me. And then everything would be fine.
Yes, exactly. Because
I wouldn't know anyway.
You wouldn't have anything to reveal. Anyway.
No. But it's so that's and it's usually. I mean, we know not to give anything away that hasn't been aired, generally speaking.
We also don't know
try
if
to tease
it's been aired or
things.
not. Like we didn't on Thursday morning. I was like, "Are we showing tonight?"
Right. So anyway, yeah, for getting ready for those kind of red carpet things, or like Comic-Con or Haley Fest or something like that, it's we know we're going to be saying a lot of the same thing over and over and over because it's a whole row of reporters. And they all have similar questions. So that's kind of the hardest thing is repeating yourself, but trying to do it in a fresh way with not so you don't sound like a robot.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's nerve-wracking because you also sometimes never know. Sorry.
Let her sit down.
You may sit. It's super nerve-wracking. Like I feel very. I'd rather film for a month than do a day of interviews. Like you don't know what to do, you don't know how to prepare, so you just sort of I hope I don't mess up anything. Yeah, I'd much rather film. Thank you for your question.
Yeah.
Is there someone on set who does? Is there someone on set who like finds local things at the place where Sam and Dean are? To find them because they got the stuffies right, but that was not a crab cake. Sorry, a clam cake. That was a crab cake.
Oh yeah, that's right. We were in Rhode Island.
Yes.
We weren't in Narangaset.
No, you were not.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, we have a crack team of specialists.
My friends were very excited. They texted me like, "Oh my God,
The stuffies! I didn't know what stuffies was until that day. They
Still don't.
Yeah, still don't.
stuffed quahog.
What is it?
A stuffed quahog, which is like a stuffed clam.
Stuffed
Oh,
quahog?
hog like Family Guy.
Poor guy. It depends on what department. It's that was props because basically anything that an actor handles is a prop. So that would be their department. So the prop master would then do the due diligence and try to figure out what they're talking about in the script.
And script-wise, I think the writers do try to make it feel a bit
local and authentic, yeah.
Yeah.
And also our production designer Jerry Wannick, he's got an amazing team of people that dive into that kind of stuff too, and try to get an authentic feel for that. Because we shoot only in Vancouver, but it's supposed to look like a million different places. So to get that kind of feel, it's heavily on the shoulders of our production team.
As a matter of fact, we even an episode with the killer truck. It was called Killer Truck.
Route 666?
Route 666. It was supposed to be like. It was supposed to take place in like Missouri in October, and then we had the day, and it just
Mississippi.
It was supposed to be Mississippi. No, it was supposed to be. It took place in Missouri, but when it snowed, they were like, well, we have to change and say it's in Mississippi now, or whatever it ended up being.
No.
Yes.
It was in Mississippi. It doesn't snow in Mississippi. We had to move it to Mississippi.
Yes, whatever it was. So they'll change it because they're like,
I didn't get any sleep last night either.
It hadn't snowed in like 120 years. Like, oh, we have to change the location before it hits the air. So.
You should come and try some stuffies and.
How dare you?
Hogs.
Watch your mouth.
Who are home all the time have trouble.
Well, we're simple folk too. It is largely in part to our wives and how they because they allow us to work away from home so much, but in doing so, they've had to take on a lot of responsibility. They both, 3 kids each. And it's, I was talking to Danielle yesterday, and she was like, it's just been really hard today. I've had, nobody's been here. It's been me and all 3 of them. And it's just, one's not feeling well, the other one's upset because it's not getting attention, whatever it might be. and he and I are at a brewery going. It is. It's not ideal, but it is our normal, and it is just what.
And it's temporary. We know it's temporary.
And that's another thing too, is we know that this isn't going to be forever. Yeah, of course we thought that 10 years ago. But we know things are going to change, and so we know it's not forever. And it's just one of these things that we're like, you know what, just buckle down and do this while we have this amazing opportunity, and we'll figure it out. The hardest part is coming back and plugging ourselves in on the weekend, because they've essentially been single mothers all week, and they've been, running the house, and they've had adult parents basically, and they have a routine, and then all of a sudden,
we come over like candy.
Yeah,
come on, kids.
And then their fourth child shows up and throws off their routine, and it's so that took a little bit of adjustment. There's like a little time period of adjusting back to each other on the weekend. But it's again, it's our normal. It's what we do, and we figure out a way to make it work because we're invested and we want to make it work.
Yeah, I agree. First and foremost, we have people around us who care both about us and just care about our families, who care about our jobs. So beyond what you just said about our wives, and then when we're in Vancouver, our crews, or we were here in Montreal, great staff creation. Make sure everything's kind of dialed in. It takes. There's kind of a juxtaposition to being an actor, and I see this a lot with artists, especially actors for whatever reason. You're forced to have, this is going to sound like, a very laser-like focus. Like when they call action, you have to be there, present in the moment, or everything sucks, and you have to go again. So I think we've taken an approach to our family time, our friend time, our when we're on set. Yeah, blah, 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 we're joking around, we're kind of laughing, moving around. They call action, we're focused, like we're there in the moment, and you have to take the same approach to parenting, I think. And I've had many parents who have to work away from, whether they're business people or drivers or travelers or whatever. They mentioned, especially at this age with kids, they're like, they're not going to know if you're gone for a day or 10 days. As long as when you're with them, you're focused. You're not reading your script. You're not flipping through the channels on the news. You're there with them, and you have really quality time with them. And so there'll be times where we'll have a long weekend because it's Labor Day or whatever it is, and they'll add on a day off, so we'll have a 4-day weekend. And I love the guy, I love his family, but sometimes we'll fly home, and then it'll be a Friday, and then on Monday we'll fly back, and he's like, hey, how was your weekend? Like, oh yeah, we haven't even chatted in 4 days. Like, great, what'd you do? Because we're not texting, we're not looking around, we're just with our families. Like, it's been a while, and it's, hey, so, and sometimes our families are, they're hanging out, like last night, we get a call, and like, JJ and Shep were playing guitar and dancing at my house, and yeah, it was great, but I think it just takes a pretty devoted kind of attention and focus.
Because we don't have quantity, we make it quality.
You have to. I'll go first. I think I knew when I ultimately know that I was going to, because they told me who I was going to be reading with. And so I looked to see what he had done and worked, and I was like, I thought to myself, we're bound to it. We had mutual friends, and I was like, unsurprisingly, you're in casting rooms a lot with other guys who kind of are white 20-year-olds, whatever it is. And so I kind of knew of him, and I was like, I wonder if I have any friends going. Specifically, and I didn't know who I was like, I wonder if we met. And we met, and I was like, oh, he's a cute little guy. Let's see if he can act. No, it was kind of funny. It's really, there's a funny thing about Los Angeles where, we were also auditioning. I think he and I had more important things on our minds, as opposed to like, hey, let's make a new friendship. It was like, hey, we gotta get this job. We love this script. We've met the writers, we know the director, love the characters, and you're trying to, pay your rent. First and foremost, you have jobs to do. And so I think it kind of, there wasn't like a forced friendship where it was like, hey, I'm gonna go blah, blah, blah. It's like, oh, we're gonna watch the Cowboy game too. Let's watch the Cowboy game together. Blah, blah, blah too. So it was kind of more organic. enforced. It was just kind of, just had a lot of confidence, I suppose. Yeah.
He was already there. He was already seated in the waiting room, sitting by himself when I walked in. And I walked in. There's a half a dozen,
at least,
different guys there.
Especially for that, especially for the network.
And I remember I walked in and I saw him, and I think he had like a hoodie on, and this floppy-haired kid sitting there, and I was like, you better not be reading your bean because I'm gonna mop the floor with it.
Luckily for him, I was sick of playing D.
Yeah. He was already playing Dean, little to my knowledge, because who watched Gilmore Girls? So I went over and I signed in, and I went and I sat across from him, and I was like, hey man, and he's like, hey, how you doing? And there was just kind of, idle pleasantries back and forth, and I remember I was like, I said, you read for Sam, or Dean? I go for Sam. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, you just dodged a bullet. And I was like, okay, I'm going for Dean. I was like, are there other people in there already? Or he's like, no, I haven't seen anybody else. The first person that's walked in the door, I was like, well, that's kind of strange, right? He's like, I was thinking the same thing. And right about that time, the cast director came out. He was like, okay, Jared, Jensen, you guys come on back. I was like, together? And then they brought us back in. This is very, I'd never experienced. I'd probably been to, maybe not 100, but a lot of auditions at this time in my life. And I'd never been in this situation where it was just one guy for one role and one guy for the other role, and then bringing us back together. So we were kind of, both kind of scratching our heads, and we're like, what is happening right now? And then we walked in the room, and there's like 30 suits sitting there who were about to judge your life. And he and I just we didn't rehearse it, we didn't run the lines, we didn't do anything, we just went right into doing a scene together, and it just, it was like instantaneous, it just kind of flew off the page. It was super easy, he and I were, it'd be like meeting somebody and finishing their sentences immediately. So then they asked us to leave the room, and I was like, nice thing. Texas, and I was like, I'm like, we might get this.
That must be.
Also, there's no one else here. So if we don't get this, we suck. Make sure we rethink our lives.
That was probably the most important, 10, 15 minutes in Supernatural history. It's whether or not it worked, because if they didn't like one or both of us, then I like to think we would be around there. It's funny because these auditions become it's like the drive to work, whatever you do for a living, drive to school, or the walk around the neighborhood with your dog. It just becomes habit. I remember I had a friend one time over, and she was just kind of getting into the business. She was a friend of a friend, and I had a stack of scripts. I just bought a house, I was trying to give them the tour, and I had a stack of 30 or 40 scripts. And she looks, and she's like, oh my God, are those your auditions? And I was like, come here, honey. And I walked downstairs in my garage, and I had literally file boxes, of thousands, probably 1,000 scripts. I was like, those are all my auditions. At the time I was on Gilmore Girls, and I'd done a few movies, this and that, and I was considered successful enough in my own right, but I was like, no. It's not like I booked 5 of 40 auditions. I booked 5 of 500 auditions, So you kind of get this, you get really used to know.
Just think about that. Think about all of those producers that passed on this. Who's laughing now? All right, guys, we gotta roll. We're gonna get this day started. The band. I love you guys.
Take it easy. On a serious note, they are killing us. So love y'all. Thank y'all so much.
Okay, we'll see you later.
Bye.